Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name's Emma, and if you're not new here, it is time for another monthly TBR. Now, if you've been watching my monthly TBRs in months prior, you may know that we always have the random prompts from my TBR bag choose what I'm gonna read. This month is gonna look a little different because instead of drawing 6 to 8 prompts like I normally do, I'm only going to be drawing 2. But that is not because I'm only putting 2 books on my TBR this month. It's because I have books that I know need to go on my TBR for the month of April, and I cannot risk them not being on my TBR due to the prompts that I'm gonna pull because I have no clue what prompts I'm gonna get. So first I'm gonna be sharing with you guys the 4 books that I am automatically bypassing the TBR bag and just sticking on my TBR for April, and then we will get to drawing 2 prompts so that there's still 2 random books that end up on my TBR for this month. The biggest reason that I have some set in stone TBR books for the month of April is because there's 2 new releases that I'm very, very excited about, and the first one is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. If you guys have watched my videos before or know anything about me and my reading taste, you know that I love and am absolutely obsessed with Abby Jimenez. Like, I would literally read her grocery list. That's how much I love her writing. And in fact, one of her newer releases just for the summer was one of my top books of 2024. So needless to say, I'm extremely excited for this new book to come out. Abby Jimenez is a contemporary romance author, but what I love about her books is they feel like more than just a rom-com. Obviously, the rom-com aspects of her books are really fun, but they also have a lot of emotional depth, and the characters always feel very relatable. They go through things that a normal person would go through. So as I'm reading her stories, I feel like her characters are real life people, and I just love that so much. So obviously I want to read her new release the second it comes out. It's one of my most anticipated new releases in 2025, and for some reason I had written down in my notes that the release date was April 25th. However, I pre-ordered it on Amazon and it says it's arriving on April 1st, which is only a couple days from the day I'm filming this. So I'm not sure what the actual release date is, but I think I'm getting it on April 1st, and I will be starting that book the second I receive it. And around this time last year, there was a lot of new releases coming out, and I did a reading vlog literally of me just reading new releases. So if you guys would want to see something like that again, I feel like this would be a really fun book to include in it. And the second new release in April that's going on my TBR is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. And similar to Abby Jimenez, I am obsessed with all of Emily Henry's books. I love her writing style, and the genre is kind of similar to me to Abby Jimenez's type of romance, just in the way that yes, it is a romance book, but it's about so much more, and we get that with Emily Henry. Her writing is beautiful. To me, they're more of women's fiction with a pretty significant romance plot, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but they're not just like silly, goofy little rom-coms. They're like emotional depth character studies that happen to have romance as a pretty big plot point. And I'm very excited for this new release as well. I am going to start reading it the second I have my hands on it. I have in my notes that it gets released on April 25th, so it will be towards the end of the month. But no matter what I'm reading, when that book comes out, I will be dropping absolutely everything to read it immediately. And then there's 2 other books that are automatically bypassing the random prompt challenge and going on my TBR. They are not new releases, however, I want to read them so badly that I know I'm gonna get to them in April no matter what, so I figured I may as well put them on my TBR. And the first one is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicerelli, and if you watched my TBR video last month for March, you may have seen that that book was on my TBR for March, and the reason I'm carrying that over to April is that I currently have just started that book, but at the time of me filming this, it's almost the end of March. So I do not think I will be finishing that book in the month of March, but it has been a priority for me for a long time. It's on my list of 25 books to read in 2025, and I just have a feeling I'm really gonna love it. So I'm continuing it on to my April TBR because there's no way I'm gonna set that book aside just because I waited until too late in the month to get to it. Heartless Hunter is a YA fantasy romance that I've heard gives Bridgerton vibes, and it's witch versus witch hunter. So everything about that sounds like something I would enjoy, and from the second this book started gaining hype on booktube and book talk, I knew I wanted to read it, and I've just been putting it off for way too long, and now that I have finally started it, even though I'm not that far in yet, I just feel like since I have finally started it, I can't put it down now. So I am prioritizing finishing that book in April. And then the other book that's automatically going on the April TBR is Reckless by Elsie Silver, which is the 4th book in the Chestnut Springs series. I could be wrong about it being the 4th book, but it's one of the books in the Chestnut Springs series, which is another series that's on my list of 25 books to read in 2025. I started it in either January or February and have been flying through it, have been loving it. I'm obsessed with everything about it, and I just know that I want to continue that series because I just like crave being back in the world of Chestnut Springs and being back with those characters and reading their stories. So no matter what, I knew I was going to be reading that book in April, so I am sticking that one on the TBR. The Chestnut Springs series is a contemporary romance series that is cowboy romance. It has a really great found family trope, and yeah, like I said, I've been obsessed. I love being in the world. It's so atmospheric, it's so much fun, and I adore all of the characters, so I'm very excited to be getting to that book in April. Now that we have those books taken care of, I am still gonna draw 2 prompts to get random books on the TBR for April, and I love doing this for my TBR method because I always end up with books on my TBR that I maybe wouldn't have gravitated towards naturally, and sometimes I read books that I absolutely love, and I'm like, if it wasn't for doing my TBR this way, it could have been a year or more before I finally got to that book. So even though those 4 books I just mentioned are must-reads for me this month, I did still want to stick 2 random ones on there. So let's shake the bag and draw 2 prompts. Our first prompt is... This prompt says a new release / anticipated book, which is kind of ironic because the whole reason I didn't just do these prompts this month is because I had so many new releases. I'm gonna put this one back simply because I am only drawing 2 prompts and I already have 2 new release books going on this list, but hopefully I'll get this on another month that has a new release. Redoing our first prompt, we have an urban fantasy book. Ooh, this is interesting, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head if I have any. Like, I'm sure I do, but I can't think of any. Like, nothing's coming to mind right now. So I'll have to look and see. Oh, wait. I know of one. There's a book that's on my 25 books to read in 2025. It's also the book I'm probably the most intimidated to read. But I promised myself I would get over my fear and read it in 2025. So I already have a feeling I'm gonna have to go with that one, but we'll get to it in a minute. Our other prompt is going to be a book where the spine doesn't match the cover. So basically, like, the spine is one color, the cover is another color, and I feel like out of the books I own, it's pretty 50-50. I have a lot that it's like one main consistent color all the way around the book, but I do have some that it's like a very stark contrast between the cover color and the spine color. I'm gonna go grab our options and then come back so we can discuss and figure out which 2 books are going to officially be going on the TBR that fit these prompts. I'm back from literally scouring my shelves, and I surprisingly have a lot less options than I thought I did, and oftentimes when I make these videos, I just like pass over, glance at my shelves really quick to find things that could work. But this time I actually like dug and was pulling books off my shelf, trying to find things that fit both these prompts, and I still did not have a lot of options, but I guess that narrows it down for me and is kind of just a sign that the books that work for this are the books I need to read. We're gonna start with the urban fantasy prompt. Like I said, a book came to mind that I am extremely intimidated by, I've owned for a while, and it's not that I don't think I would like this book, I've just heard that the world building and politics are very complicated and complex and take a lot of brain power, so I think because of that, I've been putting it off, and that book is Jade City by Fonda Lee. Now, if you guys have been watching my TBR jar videos for a while, this book, more than any other book, has almost ended up on my TBR more times than like I can even count. So yeah, it probably is a sign that I just need to pick it up and read it, but I've just been so hesitant. But I think this is finally the time that I need to dive into it. This is, like the prompt said, an urban fantasy. I know it's loosely based on like 1920s Shanghai, which sounds super interesting and intriguing to me. The back says stylish and action-packed, full of ambitious families and guilt-ridden loves. Jade City is an epic drama reminiscent of the best classic Hong Kong gangster films, but takes place in fantasy metropolis so gritty and well-imagined that you'll forget you're reading a book. Okay, well, first of all, it's inspired by Hong Kong 1920s, not Shanghai. I got that wrong. But that description right there, it sounds amazing. Like, I feel like based off that description, I would love it. But this is a brick, and like I said, I've just heard that it's very complicated, but we're gonna give it a go for the month of April because also I could not find any other urban fantasies on my shelf. So yeah, we're finally getting to Jade City, and comment below if you've read this book and give me words of encouragement or like let me know how you felt about it. Obviously no spoilers, but I do feel like I need a little motivation to push myself to actually pick this up and dive in. And then for our other prompt, we had a book where the spine does not match the cover or the color of the spine and cover are different. And like I said a minute ago, I felt like my shelves were pretty 50-50, whether it was like a cohesive color or it was split. But I was wrong about that because there's so many books that are just like one cohesive color all the way around. I really did not have many where the spine was different than the cover, and a lot of them that are like that are books I've already read. So the two that like caught my eye the most instantly and also are books I'm intrigued to read are Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. This book I've been really intrigued to get to. I think this is also on my list of 25 books to read in 2025. Both my mom and my sister-in-law have read it and said they really enjoyed it. It's also a part of a series that is either already completed or almost completed. It's fantasy romance, which is my favorite genre, and I've just heard people say this series is so bingeable, even though they are kind of long. And as you can see, the main color of the cover is white with obviously this imagery, but then the spine is this orange. So I feel like that's a pretty noticeable difference and counts for this prompt. And the other book I found that works very, very well for this prompt is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is a YA romance, and as you can see, yellow cover, blue spine, and if you watched last month's TBR, this is on my March TBR, but as I talked about with Heartless Hunter, I have a feeling I'm not even going to finish that in March, so I'm carrying it over to April. This will be the only other one from my TBR that I did not get around to, and if I'm not going to finish Heartless Hunter, I really can't imagine I will have time to start and finish this one in March as well. So I'm torn because I do really want to read this book, but I already have a carryover book from the current TBR to next month, so I don't know. I'm really excited about both of these books. This one has been on my shelf longer, but this one's on my list of 25 books to read in 2025. This one's on my current TBR, so like I really do need to get to it, but this one's a little bit more intriguing to me. But I already have a lot of fantasy type books. Well, I guess I have a lot of romance type books on my TBR right now as well. You know what? My video, my rules, I'm actually gonna put both of these on my TBR, making it a 7-book TBR for the month of April. As I always say, I'm probably not gonna get to all of these books anyway, but these are just gonna be my priority books. And since I'm torn and both of these sound so intriguing to me, and they both work for the prompt, I'm just gonna say, you know what, they're both going on the TBR. So to quickly recap the ones the prompts picked for me, we have Jade City by Fonda Lee, a urban fantasy. I don't know if there's romance in this. I think it's an adult urban fantasy. I don't know, we'll see. I am finally getting around to this one. Can you guys hear my washer going crazy in the background? It always chooses to get way louder when I'm filming. I don't know why, but it's out to get me. Anyway, we also have Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole, an adult fantasy romance. I'm very, very excited for this one and to be starting this series. And then Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, a YA contemporary romance. I'm also super excited for this one, and I feel like considering some of the other books going on the TBR, like anticipated new releases and then also maybe some more complicated fantasies, it'll be nice to have like a palate cleanser-y rom-com read thrown in there as well. And then for our 4 books that I already knew would be going on the list are Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, a new release in April. It's an adult contemporary romance. Very excited for that one. We also have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, another adult contemporary romance new release. And then we also have a carryover book from March's TBR, which is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicerelli, a YA fantasy romance. And then our very last one is the next book in the Chestnut Spring series, Reckless, which is a cowboy romance. I'm very excited. I feel like we have a great lineup for April, and typically for me around April and May, for some reason every year I read way more than I do in other months. So we'll see if that stays true for 2025, and I cannot wait to share my thoughts on all these books with you at the end of April. So be sure to subscribe so you can see when my April reading wrap up comes out. And let me know in the comments below if you've read any of the books that are on April's TBR, or if you're planning to read any of those new releases, if you're excited about them. I want to hear all the things from you guys. If you are interested in seeing more of my content, I do have my Instagram, TikTok, Goodreads, and Lemonade linked in the description below if you want to follow me over there and check out my other stuff, or you can always head over to this channel and see all the videos I have posted currently. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. That's all for now. Bye guys.